Hi, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Frankie here. And I am really excited about the change in weather. So I'm in New York City for the next several weeks for a business and also to help my dad who's dealing with Alzheimer's related memory struggles and needing to get connected to some physicians and things like that. And it was raining for the first few days and now it's sunny and I'm just appreciating the beautiful weather. And I hear that in California where I am normally, that's where I'm based. It has been amazing. And so I was thinking, oh, geez, maybe I brought the rain. But then things are clearing up and are much more sunny. So thrilled for that. I hope wherever you are in the world that you also have some sun. It definitely gives me an extra pep in my step. And I know that lots of people get affected by weather and climate in their environment. It affects their mood. So I am definitely one of those people. So, all right, let's just jump into today's topic. It is about attachment and 7 signs of secure attachment is what I'm going to cover today. And it's really interesting in recent years because of all of the social media around attachment theory. People are more curious about it. And there are a lot of people who have histories of trauma. And they say to me, I'm a psychologist and a matchmaker, they'll say, well, look, I really want to meet a securely attached person because I am anxiously attached or an avoidant attachment style. And they're really wanting to work on their attachment by being in a relationship with somebody who's securely attached because it's not fixed. You can change your attachment style depending on who you're attaching yourself to, essentially. So today we're going to talk about how to identify when somebody has a secure attachment style in case you're somebody who's really wanting to meet somebody who has a secure attachment style, whether you already have a securely attached style or you're somebody who doesn't and you actually want to change it. It would be great to meet somebody who's already there that can help you shift your style of attachment. So let's just dive in. Anyone who's ever been caught up in the anxious avoidant back and forth in a relationship would love to avoid it in the future. And often we walk away from those relationships thinking to ourselves, I'm definitely never dating someone with that attachment style again. Maybe we can add telltale signs of avoidant or anxious attachment to our personal red flags list. I'll make sure I date someone with a secure attachment style in the future, we think to ourselves. This isn't a bad idea. Our attachment styles function in a dynamic connection with others. So it's possible that a close connection with someone who can attach securely could offer some stability or even help heal some of our own attachment struggles. Like I said earlier, it's not fixed. So you definitely can improve your attachment style by being with somebody who's securely attached. However, part of having anxious or avoidant attachment is often finding yourself drawn to your opposite counterpart. And finding and dating someone with a secure attachment may be trickier than it sounds. So, where do we start? Today, I'm going to share 7 signs of secure attachment that might be helpful to watch out for in future dates and relationships. First and foremost, healthy boundaries. Everyone knows boundaries are important, but healthy boundaries can also be difficult to get right. Many people take some practice to find out footing when it comes to setting boundaries. For many of us, especially those of us with anxious attachment, our boundaries may start out too squishy or function as boundaries in name only. We may state a preference about what occurs, but make no moves to enact it and have little or no pushback if someone behaves counter to it, but silently resent them for it. Alternatively, we may come out of the gate swinging with invocations of boundaries left and right, maybe especially if we have more avoidant attachment styles. Our boundaries may really be ways to try to limit what others can ask of us or expect of us, or trying to litigate others' needs. Securely attached people, on the other hand, generally know that boundaries are about their own actions, not about trying to control the actions of others. They have a clear sense of what's healthy and safe for them in relationships and take responsibility for taking actions for their own well being within them. Much like they tend to treat conflict as potentially generative, securely attached people can see boundaries as a way to maintain and preserve relationships, not a way to threaten them. Capable of both co-regulation and self-regulation. At their core, issues of avoidant or anxious attachment are often expressed in our tendencies around emotional regulation. Adult humans are designed to both self-regulate, which is soothe ourselves when we're upset, and co regulate, be soothed by others when we're upset. When someone is avoidantly or anxiously attached, however, they tend not to be equally capable of both of these things. Avoidantly attached people struggle with co regulation, unable to be vulnerable enough with others to be soothed by them. Anxiously attached people aren't always able to successfully self regulate. They can struggle to manage strong emotions or calm themselves down without social support from others. Securely attached people, on the other hand, generally have some facility with both co regulation and self regulation. They're able to manage their own emotional needs and get themselves back to an emotional baseline when distressed on their own, but are also able to reach out to others in their life support system, share their internal experiences openly, and accept comfort and support when it's offered. Comfort with intimacy and independence. Anxious attachment might be defined as an overriding need for intimacy and a discomfort with independence, being unwilling to spend any time away from their partner, needing very high degrees of constant communication and or becoming subsumed in their partner, giving up other interests or friendships. Conversely, avoidant attachment often looks like a discomfort with intimacy and a need for independence that can be at odds with having a committed relationship. Excessive need for space or alone time, refusal to engage with emotional or vulnerable topics, or an inability to commit. A person with healthy, secure attachment is able to experience and enjoy intimacy comfortably, but not at the cost of their own independence, not interdependence. They enjoy spending time with their partner and they feel good about increasing intimacy with them as the relationship grows, but also enjoys nights spent alone and pursuing their own interests outside the relationship. Basic trust. At the root of all attachment struggles is the inability to trust that a connection will be safe. Anxiously attached people often distrust that their partner will stay in the relationship and fear losing the connection. Whereas avoidantly attached people tend to distrust that intimacy can be safe or a positive experience, fearing that their partner will hurt them or lash out against them in some way. For many people, there's some real life context explaining these fears. Trust issues can be hard to overcome, right? And a lot of us have had our trust broken, whether it be with our parents and or friends, extended family. But one of the hallmarks, or I should say partners, past relationships, right? Lots of betrayal and distrust and, yeah, so it leaves a mark, right? And then we go into future relationships, not necessarily trusting. But one of the hallmarks of secure attachment is a foundation of basic trust in relationships. While even people with secure attachment will lose trust in someone if it's violated repeatedly, they tend to approach relationships with the expectation that everyone in them is doing their best and is operating in good faith. This means they don't assume their partner is cheating on them baselessly, fear that their partner will blow up at them and act in any cruel way, or that they'll fearing that they'll, raise their voice unexpectedly or require ceaseless reassurance about the status of their relationship. They're not walking through life worrying about all these things, able to seek and offer support. Being able to rely on your partner for emotional and psychological support is a core part of a healthy romantic relationship. Our original attachment blueprints were formed in large party and by whether or not we could consistently rely on our caregivers for care, safety, and support as children. It makes sense that being able to do so in an adult relationship is a hallmark of mature, secure attachment as well. Crucially, people with secure attachment are able to not only offer support and care to their partners, but are able to ask for it as well. There's a lot of struggle around asking for support for a lot of people, right? The comfort with reciprocity is a big part of what differentiates secure attachment from anxious attachment, where care or comfort might be bid for repeatedly as reassurance of the relationship's stability, or avoidant attachment, where someone may not be comfortable enough being vulnerable with their partner to ask for support. Functional relationship to conflict. Almost nobody enjoys conflict, but it also doesn't need to be the end of the world. People with secure attachment experience conflict as a way to resolve disagreements or get needs met, one that can be challenging at times, but is ultimately necessary and serves a purpose. They don't experience conflict as so threatening and overwhelming that they would rather ghost than engage in any kind of difficult conversation, like an avoidantly attached person might. But securely attached people also don't pick fights or use arguments as a protest behavior to capture their partner's attention and focus, even if that attention is having a fight. Successful relationships with others, romantic or otherwise. Having an avoidant or anxious attachment style doesn't mean that your relationships are doomed or that you're incapable of having fulfilling, healthy ones. Having a particular attachment style doesn't make you a good or bad person or a good or bad partner. But it's also true that people with secure attachment can often be identified by the range of healthy, solid relationships across their life. Strong friendships, healthy connections with coworkers, solid dynamics with family, and generally good rapport with others in their community. They also have a healthy perspective on these relationships, treating them as valuable and significant without centering their entire sense of self around them in a codependent way, or cutting and running from a relationship as soon as there's conflict or difficulty. So that covers it, folks. 7 signs and indicators of a securely attached person. So if you're wanting to work on your attachment style and you have an attachment style like mine that is kind of a combination even of like anxious and avoidant, you might want to find somebody who's securely attached so that you can make some changes in the way that you show up in relationships and the way that you can be vulnerable and trust. Because it's really, that's what it's about, is being able to trust whomever you're with and being able to be vulnerable with them and knowing that they're not intentionally going to hurt you or leave you, that kind of thing. That's what I got for you. Hope you all have a beautiful day or night, whatever time this is, whatever time zone you're in. Mwah, kisses, hugs, and I will see you next week.